Welcome back to the OPL. If you're just joining us, Chiefs are up 1-0 over Sin in this best of 3 game 1 of OPL round 7 Saturday. My name is Michael Higgins and I'm joined here by Blinky and also Rusty. Thank you for both for being here. I want to read you a couple of tweets that have come in over the break, and they are very jungle focused. One is from a boy Spooks, who's said, if I was on my own team, I would report me for inting in that game. So he's not very happy with his performance. And also Guts has tweeted in about Juve, saying, come on, Juves, you're better than this. So a lot of jungle mess in that first game, Rusty.
Yeah, there was a bit of mess. I'm sure Spooks will be disappointed with his own performance. I don't think Juves should be too angry with how he was playing. He
snuck away.
Yeah, there was a few times where he barely got away. I know Spawn was mentioning that before, and ultimately he was doing the damage that his team needed. He was killing the Ashe. Like, that's Arengar's job essentially achieved. It just felt like it was Juves and Ryoma against the world.
Juves Rover versus the world on a magic carpet ride,
Yep.
a la Aladdin. Well, as you look forward to this game too, Blinky, you said, look, if Sin can win the first one, they can win the second game as well. It could be a 2-0, it could snowball out of control. Given that they've lost that first game and it was such a bloodbath, what are your thoughts on them taking this game too?
I still believe that Sin can take this game, but this time they actually need to put focus on their bottom lane instead of just drafting for the team. They need to gank it, put focus on it. Don't ban 480 carries when you're the better bot lane. Put focus on it and beat them.
Rusty, do you think Sin believe they're the better bot lane versus going up against the Chiefs?
I don't know if Sin believe they're better in any role, besides that they think they want to be worse in every single role. Sin have got such a strong underdog mentality that if they believe they're better, they might underperform. So I think Sin choose to believe they're worse so that they play up, trying to beat their opponents.
So what you're saying is they want that underdog mentality going into this game.
Absolutely.
They want to be hungry so they can dominate later on in the game. But when you say, let's not ban 480 carries and then not play towards bot lane, when you're the better, in your mind, the better bot lane, what should they be banning instead then? Who should they be banning out Swiffer then, given that he popped off in that game?
They should definitely ban, if they're going to counterpick the top lane, they should get rid of any threat that gives the team the better team fight. So Rumble, Camille, stuff like that is going to pressure the map. Their focus should be getting ahead and then A-ramming mid like they always do, right? Just force mid, beat them, and be done with it.
Yeah.
Rusty, we also saw Ryoma popping off against his old team. He had a pretty good showing. What did you make of his game against the Chiefs in that first match?
I'm pretty happy with how Ryoma performed. He was up against Swiffer, and Swiffer said if he loses to his former sub, it'd be a little bit embarrassing. I don't think he underperformed Swiffer, but Ryoma definitely stepped up and was a big part of his team, and honestly kept them in most of that game. Was 1v2ing at one stage when Swiper came down. Yeah,
you got to feel that it's like you almost. If you're Ryoma, it's almost like you're going up against your old boss, right? Because Swiffer, captain of that team, and you're just like, I don't know anything about their personal relationship. I don't know that he's looking for revenge, but that's certainly kind of how the playstyle felt a lot of the time. And we see the guys getting back into their chairs, getting ready for game 2. If you're the Chiefs, though, as we're seeing there on screen, Blinky, how do they close this out? How do they make this a 2-0 and not drop a game to Sin?
Just get the same draft, consistent all around. Play your macro game, play the game without fights. Take less fights, but more 100% fights, and they'll take it clean.
So, Rusty, if Sin don't ban 480 carries this time, if Caitlyn, Ezreal, Jid, Varus are up, I mean, do you still expect Raze to play that Ashe?
Yeah, Razor's job in the team is definitely able to just be an Ashe and throw out arrows. I know that he has a tendency to want to carry and play carry champions. Varus is obviously the best champion of choice if it's not banned, but Ashe can do the same thing, right? Just press R, have a team that'll carry. Swiffer, notably on form today with how he is playing on Summoner's Rift, so I would continue to put him on the Ashe, have Ejim still be a controlling support, either a Karma or a Malzahar again, and just work around those two as the pivot point to get Swiffer ahead.
I know during the break we were talking to Spawn, he revealed the stat that Swiper actually did more than triple the damage of flares in that last game. Does that surprise you at all, Blinky?
I mean, they picked a bad matchup unless they were going to camp it. So if they were going to pick the winning top lane, they should definitely put more pressure there instead of Juves doing what he did.
Yeah, but I mean, you also mentioned yourself, right? Swipe is an expert at dealing with carry top laners. That's exactly what Flares is going to be. And even though he got the double buffs, it still looked like Swiper was at home and didn't actually start losing after those buffs were there. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive from Swiper.
All right. Well, okay, so we think Swiffer might get that Jace banned out this time against him, do you think, Blinky, before we go?
Yeah, I definitely think they should ban Jace.
Ban the Jace. Rusty, thoughts? Ban the Jace?
I mean, yeah, they have to ban it after that. 11-0-11. It's pretty absurd.
All right, well, Chiefs are up 1-0 in this best of 3. That is enough from us here at the desk. So let us get into game 2 by throwing it over to our casters, Spawn and Fish.
Thank you very much, Hingers. We're about to get back into the trenches here.
To
because
what?
Into the trenches.
Okay.
Spawn, because it's Sin going against Chiefs, and it's a battlefield at the moment.
Yeah, I couldn't qualify for the army. My eyesight's too poor. I'm not going anywhere near trenches, mate. Not trained for this at all. However, Sin and Chiefs definitely look like they are ready for some form of warfare because that was a game one. 45 kills in 38 minutes. I think that Sin just does this to teams at the moment, as do Tainted Minds. And Chiefs, in just like any angry 20-something-year-old, like nearest thing they could hit was Sin, unfortunately, and they hit them a lot.
They certainly did. It was a absolute disaster for the first 20 minutes for the two teams, and it just swung in the Chiefs' favor once we hit about 25 minutes into the match. We'll have to see if Sin are going to be throwing themselves at the Chiefs again, or if this time we'll see a little bit more strategy to the bloodbath we saw earlier.
No, absolutely no chance. Sin are going to one more time put together a team fighting composition, I expect, and I think that Chiefs just need to draft for a little bit more disengaged, and then this game looks a heck of a lot cleaner. I like the double teleport because it always meant that they had a response to Sin randomly grouping up as well. So I think the Chiefs have done their job here and scouted. However, if Sin tighten up the execution, which these team fighting comps always do come down to, anything can happen, Fish, as I like to say.
It certainly can. Meanwhile, Jin and Varus are still going to be banned out by Sin here. This time they've taken away Jace.
Juice really does need a haircut. I mean, look at that mop.
He did tweet out saying, he's going later.
Yeah, no, I know. He said that, head into a nice barber. He could only find one open till 7. He's a little bit shaky on it, but hopefully they do a good job on his hair. Of course, he did tweet that if you don't have a fade like him, you can't at him. However, the fade is well and truly gone into a mess of that mop.
Oh, goodness. It certainly has. The Chiefs have stuck to their band, so they've gone for Camille, LeBlanc, as well as Elise, and again, sitting here to pick up Rengar.
I mean, it suits their playstyle. I think that none of the bans are really surprising there because they're no longer on red side. They don't need to ban any of the OPs, which means that they continue to hit the 80 carries as well as that 80 mid laner in the Jace. And Rengar just lends itself to Sin's comp. It gives them a way to scout team fights, a way to jump in and assassinate the backline. If you can get a dive buddy on flares, then it should be a good thing. And Chiefs, obviously, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, Fish.
So they pick up Rumble again to head into the top lane. They do get the next pick here. Wouldn't be too surprised if they go for the Graves as well. Spooks didn't have a great early game there, but
unless
still
they
did
really
so
want
much
to play
damage.
Karma or something like that. I mean, there is a potential that they can pick away something that they didn't like playing against, but it is as you were saying.
Yep, instead Spooks going to pick up the Graves again, try to redeem himself, so to speak. Don't int this game, Spooks.
Yeah, of course, when we say int, intentional feed, is what we're actually meaning. Of course, a lot of slang running around at the moment. Just thought I'd drop that one in there. It's only going to be the first time. And yeah, that was certainly a surprising game out of Spooks, because normally a slow, methodical jungler was playing up-tempo and got caught out a lot.
A completely different bottom lane is going to be picked up by Sin heading into game 2. Ezreal and Nami have been locked in for FBI and Rogue.
Yeah, and if you talk to Deft and Mako, this is the best bully in lane in the world. Of course, no longer playing together. One is at KT, the other still at EDG, but renowned for being able to play bullies, and this was the bully lane of choice.
It certainly is. And the Chiefs stick to their guns and pick up Malzahar as their third pick here for Egypt. We'll have to see if Sin decide to ban out the bottom lane again. They've already taken the Ezreal away this time round, so we could see an Ashe ban. You never really know.
Yeah, it certainly is the case. I mean, we could see them continue to hit the bottom lane. I would expect if they are going to ban Ashe, that they would also ban Caitlyn, because you don't want to give any range advantage. I have no idea what Raze goes to after that.
Then we had a Jax ban coming out from the Chiefs again. Juice laughing a little bit once that one comes through. We do have Ashe coming out as a ban for Sin.
I mean, that's so strange that they banned Jax, because Aurelia is normally the pick that you play into Rumble. And if you're going to play Jax, you may as well play Aurelia, in my opinion. Very similar champions. So we'll see whether that's something that maybe Flares can look towards.
Jax used to not do too well against Rumble when it was first released. Then they changed how his E
Counter-Strike.
worked,
Yep.
and it suddenly became the counter to Rumble. So a little bit of a back and forth between those two top laners.
Yeah.
Syndra is the next ban coming out from the Chiefs, and Sivir, the last ban from Sin, still banning out 80 carries.
So they want him to play Caitlyn now? I don't understand. You just give him the range advantage, a little bit of wave clear as well to go with a Malzahar. That is a bizarre pick ban phase.
Well, hopefully be able to get some insight from Bensel towards these 80 carry bans coming out from Sin, because it's an interesting choice, but they have pushed Raze onto an 80 carry that Sin want him to play, I guess.
I mean, that's what they did with the Ashe, so they obviously have a plan behind this. I just feel like Caitlyn's gap closer is very nice. Maybe they were hoping that it would go towards something a little bit more brawly or scrappy like a Lucian. However, still got Siege set up there. Caitlyn as well as Rumble. So good at, you know, laying down the equalizer. You can get the traps out in front of the turret. So there are certainly ways for the Chiefs team comps to still come together, although it peaks a little bit later.
Ooh, we have Orianna being picked up for Ryom in the mid lane, and Nah will be returning to the Rift. Has seen some play internationally, but we'll see it being played in the OPL today.
Yeah, certainly will be, and that is huge CC layering there. All of a sudden, you have a massive wombo combo. Going to have Rengar jumping in with a ball, then you're going to have the Meganar over the top, waves coming out, and then, of course, the Ezreal ulti. That is just a lot of AoE if you can get 5 members in the same place.
No way.
So the Chiefs, nah, they'll do it. I mean, this is always the Chiefs' answer to 5v5. We're just going to play pick. We're going to isolate Vision. We're going to have Caitlyn trapped. We're going to have enough damage to blow you up if you go into Fog of War, and we have the Malzahar and the Ahri to be able to catch you out.
Orianna going up against Ahri. For some reason, every time we get an Ahri in the game, it's always against an Orianna. Seems like the matchup goes in Orianna's favor to start, but a cheeky charm or two will change that one for Swiffer.
Yeah, it certainly will, and Swiffer is a historical Ahri player, and Ahri is one of those champions that I don't really enjoy watching, to be honest. Because what it all comes down to at the end of the day is being able to throw charms out of that Fog of War, and Vision becomes the most important thing on the map. And when you get that, you get a little bit more slow, drawn-out games. We'll see whether Swiffer can actually play the Ahri in a high-tempo game. Because even though this is a little bit more scaling out of Sin, I mean, they're going to have a tier 80 carry, a 3-item mid laner, you still expect them to fight at about 1.5.
Yeah, it feels like this time around Sin is still going to throw themselves at the Chiefs, but this time they at least have something to back them up as soon as they start those team fights. Whereas the Chiefs, they've lost a little bit of their initiation potential with the Ashe being taken away and a little bit of their poke due to the Jace being banned out, but still very similar team comp.
Yeah, really similar. I mean, this time around, instead of keeping people like running through choke points, what you want to be able to do is isolate them in Fog of War, be able to cut off the team with that equalizer, then blow one person up with Ahri. So it's going to be similar where the equalizer is dropped. It's just for a different aim. I think that this is a comp that the Chiefs historically have been incredibly potent at playing. In saying that, if there's ever a wombo combo team, it is going to be Sin, and they've got that in spades right now. I'm just looking down, and I see so much AoE.
Yeah, lots of ways for them to get into the back line as well and just dive straight into the entire fight against the Chiefs. Hopefully as well ways to avoid this equalizer that's going to come out from the Rumble due to the fact that they can get into the back line nice and easy. We'll have to see how it's going to pan out as we head later on into the game, but for now, we're back onto Summoner's Rift for Game 2 between Sin going up against the Chiefs. This time around, though, let's check in with Bensel, who's standing by with Hingers.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Bensel, coach of Sin Gaming, and I want to ask you about this bot lane draft, because you've banned out a lot of AD carries in this last game and this game, and now you've picked Ezreal Karma going into a Caitlyn. How do you feel that matchup goes?
Oh, we have Ezreal Nami.
Sorry, Ezreal Nami. Sorry, I apologize.
Well, we have a lot of sustain in the lane, a lot of poke. Malzahar typically doesn't offer a lot of pressure in lane since his nerfs, so Ezreal can farm pretty safely. Nami can keep him topped off against the Caitlyn, which we force them into. Also, against Chiefs, we kind of expect them to play around the bot lane as much as possible, unlock them, allow them to roam around the map to create vision and make picks, so getting them off those utility AD carries is pretty important.
All right, and for the rest of the map, do you see any other weaknesses in their draft that you're looking to exploit today?
Not really in their draft. I mean, they're a pretty squishy comp, but as they showed last game, I mean, they can play with that. But, I mean, it's something we can play against. It's pretty easy to pick them off, especially if they're not grouped.
All right, excellent. Well, best of luck in the game, and thank you so much for speaking to us.
No worries.
So we just heard from Bensel there. He did push the Chiefs onto an 80 carry, but interesting enough, he says he wanted to push them towards non-utility based 80 carries, and they gave them Ashe game 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think what he means there is that for Game 2, he wanted them to play non-utility. In Game 1, they wanted to play something immobile. So we'll see how that works out. It didn't have the lane strength that they had in Game 1, in my opinion, whilst Ezreal Nami has historically been a very good lane because of things like sustain as well as that poke. Still very hard to go toe-to-toe against them. And Spooks is actually going for a very early invade here. But Rengar started blue buff Spooks. That's not going to work.
Jury's going to be able to pick that one up nice and early. Let's see if he can take down
He's
the
still
walls.
going.
He's looking for it, puts a ward down. Will spot out Juice as meanwhile on the bottom lane, suddenly Raze has no health.
Yeah, exactly right. So you can see FBI going forward aggressively. Raze is still going to hold his potion. However, as the Caitlyn user in this lane, and the no sustain, you're in big trouble.
Ooh, that's a lot of damage going down. Flash forward, the ebb and flow is going to be able to pick up first blood for Rogue.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Rogue going aggressive. That's what you like to see. They also get all the summoner spells out of Raze, and he still falls down. This time around, forcing them onto a more scaling defensive lane has certainly paid dividends.
That's a huge misplay coming out from Raze in the bottom lane. You mentioned he held on to the potion, and he just gets absolutely chunked out as Sin pick up level 2 first. That's a mistake you don't make.
No, it isn't. I mean, as an AD carry player, as soon as you lose the push, you cede level 2. Everyone kind of knows that at the moment.
Yep.
Every lane has a way to go aggressive at level 2, and Raze and Egypt just step forward when they should have been stepping back, Fish.
So it's already a nice and early lead for Sin, and normally first blood doesn't mean too much, but this has given Sin 1,000 gold advantage.
Yeah, it certainly has, and they also get a lane reset. We'll see what they actually go towards in the bottom lane. It is looking like it's just going to be some scaling with a cull and some potions. I do like the pickup.
Oh, Swiffer taking a lot of damage in this mid lane. Ryoma trading quite effectively against Ari. You can see how much the shield helps Orianna out during these trades.
Yeah, it certainly can, but Swiffer equalized that one by sticking with it because there were 3 creeps auto-attacking Ryoma. Swiffer also ensured that he actually has the lane bouncing back towards him, which is why he wanted to get a cheeky recall. Won't be able to get that one in. Of course, Ryoma still has the additional pot, and Ejin comes in to help shove out this lane.
Hello. Just walks through the lane. Decides he wants to help out here, so Ryoma's going to be pushed underneath his turret. That does mean that Swiffer will get the recall first, but Ryoma does have enough mana to slowly push this one out, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem for him. It does mean that Raze is farming 2-on-1 at the moment.
I mean, technically it was 1-on-0 for majority of that. The duo lane's only just rejoining. You can see that now Ejin makes his way back down whilst spotting out potentially a Rengar in the river. Didn't see whether he actually caught vision of him. But this is certainly an early game that is heavily in Sin's favor. And potentially Juves now, with that information, going to go for an invade here.
Level 4 to level 3, blue buff is low. Spooks looking to try and take this one down. Body block coming out from Sin. Will he get it? Does not get it. The shotgun will be able to take that down. Almost from Juves.
Yeah, certainly. It was a good invade. I mean, you can see that straight away they had the ability to rotate first with the Nami, so always going to be able to keep him topped off. They did have CC on the way as well. Means that Chief's bottom lane is isolated even further because Spooks can't feel like he can get in there because Vision has been placed down. I think that's a brilliant call out of Juves. The fact that he didn't get the buff, sure, that's a little bit of a dampener. But all the meanwhile, he's got a full top side of the jungle to be able to clear up. And Rengar farms quite safely. And quickly, so it doesn't really cost him all that much and continues to exert pressure on the bottom side of the map.
So checking in with this bottom lane, FBI does have a small experience advantage. On top of that, the wave is pushing in towards him, and he picked up a cull. So Ray still has nothing. Interesting pickup because with the cull as well as the potions there, he was about 75 gold off of his tier. So not quite able to pick that one up and stack it early, which is always good to do as Ezreal. I mean, he neutralized any of the advantage that Caitlyn gets when he picks up that tier.
Yeah, it certainly is the case. I mean, that Ezreal is one of those strange champions that he can feel great at certain parts of the game, but Juves going in top lane. Let's talk about that later.
Yeah, jumping on towards Swiper. That's a lot of damage going down. Bowler Strike comes out as well. There comes the ultimate from the Rumble. Juves will pick up a kill, but Spooks is there to pick up the return.
It certainly is, and they do get the flash out of Juves. Swiper choosing not to flash away. That was a little bit of a strange call. I feel like he could have lived if he flashed backwards there. And it would have been a 1-for-0 trade. However, still has teleport available. Wave is in a good position for the top laner of the Chiefs. And jungle is picking up kills. I mean, it isn't all that much of a difference for top laners right now.
Swiper should be able to get back into his lane. Continue farming up. You see he uses teleport right there. Flair still has his own. Still be very comfortable as Raze is taking a lot of damage again. Gets locked down and now exhausts onto Ejim. He's flashing forward. Will get a return kill for himself.
Yeah, you can see that Ejim in the end takes the lane into his own hand. However, now Rogue wants a piece of him. Turns around, smacks him a couple of times as Nami. But still, the fact that Raze is 0-2 and what, 14 CS down now? That's a huge deficit in what is a scaling lane for the Chiefs.
He's gone back to pick up the tier, but Ryoma in trouble in the mid lane. Charm is not going to connect. Ryoma just trying to go toe-to-toe against Swiffer for now. Shockwave still available. He's holding on to it. Flashes away. Uses it, but it's going to be a return ball from Swiffer that picks up the kill.
And it's actually a 1v1 in the end. Ryoma uses everything. Swiffer still has flash because he held it until the last moment. Ryoma acknowledged he didn't have the damage to be able to take him out without the ignite. Without the exhaust, without the ultimate landing squarely. Had to pull the trigger. And Swiffer is able to flash away with a fadeaway. Really nicely played out of both mid laners. Got to agree with Swiffer here that Ryomo's mechanics are actually incredibly impressive to watch.
You definitely could think that that might have been a different story if the pressure from Spooks wasn't there, forced to flash his ultimate. Some of the damage coming out as FBI taking a bit of damage from Ejim here. You still don't want to run into these Voidlings. They still hurt quite
Certainly
a bit.
do, but they do have the sustain advantage, and being able to break the spell shield means that you can go a lot more aggressive onto Malzahar. The windows are nice at the moment as Swiper and Flares.
They're going toe-to-toe right now. Flares fighting on top of this ward. Will turn Mega. There is the ultimate coming out. Spooks is in the back pocket looking to try and chase him down, but the Nars very comfortable playing against the wall at the moment.
However, did take a lot of damage, but not really all that much reason. I mean, there was not all that much reason to trade there as Chiefs clean out a couple of wards. Does get the equalizer out, doesn't have to burn Flash. However, did get the Hex Drinker popped as well as, have to give up a lot of priority in that lane. So Swiper one more time, having a fairly good performance on this Rumble.
And again, Ejim very confident on this Malzahar. Even though the Voidlings have been nerfed, still was able to use one there to block a Mystic shot from FBI. FBI just trying to hold this last minion close to the turret. Not so it freezes the wave, but just so it's more towards their side of the map.
Yep, so they don't have to overextend. Of course, with Graves probably going to be heading down soon after he clears top side of the jungle is incredibly important. One thing I want to point out is that winning bottom lane with an Infernal Drake as the first dragon is really key for Sin. You feel if they can get an Infernal Drake, it will help their scaling a little bit more. We've already talked about the fact that we think that they have a weaker late game than the Chiefs. Not champion-wise, just player-wise. However, they get the snowball rolling, they're going to be in good stead because they are big confidence players. And I think that, an early Infernal Dragon certainly helps that out.
Spooks here is going to force Juice out of the river, though. He is a level up ahead of the jungler. Gets his Berserker Grease up nice and early. Top side of Mass Swipe is still taking quite a bit of damage from Flares, but trading back nicely. Making sure that he doesn't just take damage for free.
And one more time, this is about farming up as Rumble in this lane. It sounds so strange because Rumble has such a cost-effective build, but when you are forced into Arm Guard, when you're forced into Doran Shield Start, you don't do all that much damage early game. Fish, you need a couple of penetration items in there. Swiper needs to be careful because he is being chipped down quite low. He will be able to secure himself an Infernal Dragon.
Ooh.
However, being dove and losing out on big CS, especially because Flares just transformed, could be a big thing. Has to drop Equalizer now.
Juice has snuck around here. Swiper's in a lot of trouble. Will get taken down nice and easy by Flares. Swiper does clear out the wave, which is a good news story for them. But still.
And Chiefs actually don't pull trigger on the Dragon. Instead, they just walk in and clear out mid lane. Strange call. Potentially the fact that Swiffer was being pushed in was what influenced it. However, now they just lose first turret nearly for nothing.
Let's see if Swiping can teleport back up there. Juice and Flares are pretty low. Spooks is close towards this side of the map.
I mean, his teleport isn't yet available, so he's going to have to start walking. I mean, that's all but first brick right there.
Swiffer's looking to see if he can make a play in the bottom lane. Flares' teleport's not up yet.
Goes over the wall.
Yeah, dashed over. They're going to try and lock down Rogue. He's dead. The FBI's in a bit of trouble. We'll get charmed. The ultimate comes out from Raze as well. The FBI will be taken down by Swiffer.
Yeah, that's a great play out of Swiffer. In the end, just looks bottom lane, is able to pick up a double kill, equalizes what was a big discrepancy on the map. One more time, the Chiefs mid laner stepping up huge for his team. And meanwhile, Spooks guarantees that Flares can't get an easy shot in by shoving up the lane with his top laner. And now there is pressure exerted in multiple lanes by the Chiefs off what was a losing situation. Sin still with a 300 gold lead, so a good early game, but Chiefs fighting back one more time.
They certainly are. They're fighting back nice and strong here, the Chiefs. We did check with the items that have been picked up by the back so far. Swiper again going for Ninja Tabbies with the arm guards. Lots of armor for the Rumble to the top lane, especially with the Doran shield. I know you like that to be comboed with the Ninja Tabbies. Bottom side of the map, Manamune being rushed by FBI.
Yeah, and this is something that I was talking about because Ezreal, if you're accelerated, feels fantastic. But as soon as you fall behind slightly, it doesn't feel so great. He's been killed a couple of times. He didn't get the second kill himself. I like this build. I think Manamune into Sheen is the best build at the moment on Ezreal. Don't rush Trinity Force anymore after just tier because I feel like I don't have enough AD. But we'll see what FBI goes towards, if that is going to be a Phage or something like that before he goes into the Sheen, or whether he just had 350 gold and thought a Mana Crystal was useless.
On about 4 to 5 ways time, FBI is going to have a nice spike of gold because that Cole is on 24 stacks. Going to be good for him once he picks that up. Raze is still slightly behind, still sitting on his BF sword and boots.
Caitlyn always feels like she's behind. Until you have 4 items on Caitlyn, you feel like you're behind. No matter how far ahead you are, you just have such wonky build paths. You have to go BF sword into Hurricane. I mean, you still need armor penetration in her build. You can go double Zeal items, but then you never have enough lifesteal, it feels like it. Caitlyn, in my opinion, is one of the most awkward AD carries to play at the moment. Not weak, necessarily, because of the traps and all the other things she brings, but very awkward.
Meanwhile, mid lane, Ryoma and Swiffer going toe-to-toe. Rumble's been thrown down here. Ultimate on top of himself. He's going to flash away. Will get hit by the Harpoon, so Exhaust used very late. Swiffer getting jumped up by Juice. Flashes forward, picks up a kill. Now Swiper's in trouble because Flares is here. One last auto attack will be enough. Flares needs to find a way to get out of there, but instead he says, all right, Raze, you're next, buddy. Let's go for a little bit of a fighter here, shall we? As he chases him down. The Nara's looking to go mega. Will he get it? He gets stopped by a Caitlyn track and can't quite get the ultimate he was looking for.
But a 2-for-1 turnaround because Swiper came down and didn't have Equalizer available, it looked like. Strange gank. Teleport was burnt, however. Oh,
there he goes. Flares gets the double stun. Egypt's in trouble. Ebb and Flow for Rogue will pick up the kill. He didn't get the initiation he wanted earlier, but he got it later on.
He certainly did, and that is huge. It's going to be first turret picked up. That is a 4-for-1 trade in the end, I think. As well as Infernal Dragon. Sin have exploded in game 2.
Yep, it's going to be almost 2 turrets being picked up by Sin here, and the Infernal Dragon, like you mentioned, Spawn. Juves takes that one down nice and easy. Mid lane's going to fall with a swift breeze, and Sin taking decisive control of this game. They have a lead now that we saw from the Chiefs 28 minutes into their game. They've got it at 14.
Yeah, exactly right. And all of a sudden they have a team composition that is so easy to execute against squishy comps. We saw it just then, flashing with a wombo combo, especially if you're going double offensive items on Nah. It's just going to be that easy to pick up kills. And that was without the Orianna combo coming out on top of it. I mean, there is just damage for days in clumped up team fights. And I feel like the Chiefs need to respect it a little bit more.
On top of that, we saw Ryoma living with the only health he had was his shield and using his exhaust then, staying alive for about 5 to 6 more seconds, somehow still outputting damage, somehow still contributing to the fight for Sin. Did end up falling down, but took 2 people with him.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's all you can ask out of your mid lane. All of a sudden, Flares as well with a couple of kills and assists there. Looking like a very powerful Nah after what was, you know, an up and down laning phase. Certainly got a lot of attention again from Juice. Not that I think that's a bad thing. Certainly top laners are relatively unloved for a lot of the game.
See now Juice being hunted down here. Ultimate has to be used early. We'll get back to safety. Moby Boots coming out from the Malzahar is a little bit scary. He's trying to run away from people. Swiffer's now 2-on-1 in this bottom lane against Rogue and FBI. But Spooks, as well as Egypt, trying to make their way through. But Raze, he's seen this story before, Spawn. But this time round, he might take one down with him.
Yeah, he certainly does. Gets a return kill. That's as good as it's going to get if you are Raze. Egypt flying towards the mid laner again. However, Raze just dying so much in this series today.
Ambitious, Rogue. Trying to collapse on Inari without a targeted stun. Swiffer just sidesteps everything and questions.
They all go over the wall with the blast cone. Here we go, potential fight.
Let's see if they can do it. Spooks and Egypt go up against FBI and Rogue. Rogue will get locked down. Now Swiffer's joining the fight as well. FBI flashes into him. Swiffer might fall down to the turret shot, or will he? The heal comes out from his passive, and it's enough to keep him safe.
Yeah, it certainly is. Really well executed turret dive there out of the Chiefs. However, they do lose mid lane at the same time. So gold still swinging in the favor of Sin Gaming. It's getting close. Egypt is the most fed member on his team. I mean, that's not a good news story because we're not talking about, oh, Spooks, you're going to probably die here.
Juice looking for Egypt, actually collapses here. Raze finds a wild Nah. He's putting down traps. Flares is going to look to try and hunt him down, avoiding all the traps. Blast cone available for Raze, gets over to safety. That was a bit scary there.
It certainly was. As we take a look at the gold a little bit, Fish, I mean, top lane, massive disadvantage right now. Supports are actually pretty even, both fairly bloodthirsty, but also 80 carries raise at a pretty big disadvantage at the moment, especially given the fact that his item power spike is a little bit later.
But big thing for Sin is everyone on their team has some form of advantage at the moment. So it's not great that it's all on one person, but also the fact that it's spread out means if they do get into this late game, it's going to distribute so much nicer for them.
Yeah, it certainly is. Can see that Swiffer, one more time, looking for the assassinations. Doesn't have the ultimate available yet, so don't know what he was expecting, but does get a nice chunk.
Yeah, FBI sees the Q come up from Swiffer and just goes, nah, I'm not dealing with this again. No way.
Get me the heck out of this
I
lane.
don't even have Rogue this time. No. Stay away
Flares,
from me.
you going bot.
Because he's just running up to top
Instead they
lane.
send the Orianna, and this is one of the disadvantages of playing Orianna. Generally not a great side laner. You want it underneath turret a lot of the time, not pushing up, which doesn't really help in 1-3-1.
So they do send FBI and Rogue to the mid lane. Everyone for the Chiefs is now moving down towards the bottom side of the jungle. Clearing out wards to kick things off, trying to take away camps. Sin for now do not have any response. This player is still moving up towards top side of the map. Both teleports are available for these top laners. Swiper's already going back to base. Looking to pick up a couple more items again. Looking to try and complete the Zhonya's Hourglass as early as possible. Flares has gone for a Hex Drinker this game to go with his Black Cleaver, as well as a QSS very early from the Gnar.
I mean, wants to be able to initiate and doesn't want to be shut down by Aegim, I guess, what is the thought process there.
Or even Swiffer.
Yeah, as he dives in, needs to be able to shrug off the CC and set up that ultimate. I like the pickup. I also think that it's kind of a shout out to Ashe, knowing the fact that, you know, you're not going to have enough AD or attack speed to be able to bother me at this stage of the game. So instead, I'm going to itemize towards your top lane and mid as a response. Swiffer potentially being collapsed on here.
Roman Jews want to go for it, but the charm connects on towards the Rengar and shows him. Another thing about Quicksilver Sash is it gives you magic resistance, which doesn't feel good, but they're against Rumble and Ari, and Aegim has got 3 kills. That's going to help him out.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, however, there is still a lot of AD damage coming out of spooks and the like, so we can't completely ignore AD, I feel, but it does give him... Oh,
they're looking for Swiffer here. Ryoma flashes forward with the ultimate, but Swiffer's going to be able to pick up an easy solo kill.
yeah, Swiffer actually just showing his class at the moment. A little bit more of a sloppy game out of Ryoma. Still showing some good farming, but in a side lane, Ari versus Orianna. Long lane, definitely going to favor the Ari more.
I mean, I questioned his exhaust last time when he went for that play. This time he didn't even use it. Might have been a completely different story if that shockwave went off there against Swiffer, because it didn't seem like he was going to flash out of that one anytime soon.
No, it certainly didn't. I mean, I'm sure if a push came to shove, he would have looked towards it. As Flares now taking up some turret shots.
He doesn't really care, Flares. He's happy.
But he's got the whole team cheating towards that side of the map, which means the Chiefs actually...
Juves has found Raze. Raze says, not again. I don't enjoy this.
Actually, Aegim, a little bit of a mistake there. You should know that the stacks build up when you jump out of the bush as a Rengar, so doesn't need the second rotation of spells to be able to pop it, and actually gets out of that ultimate scot-free, and that means top lane turret now very open.
Swiffer does equalize with a bottom lane inner turret being picked up.
Oh, he's going on to Ryoma again.
Oh, no, that's 2 solo kills in a matter of minutes here. Ryoma 0-4 at the moment on this Orianna. Spooks will take down an Elemental Dragon on top of that Ocean Dragon being picked up.
Yeah, so 1 turret and no kills for 2 turrets and 1 kill means the Chiefs, they're kind of clawing their way back into the game is the only adjective I can really use. I mean, Swiffer certainly putting up a lot of his team on his back right now and hurling them towards the finish line. We saw this last week against Legacy in Game 1, however, and it certainly wasn't enough. In the similar vein, we've got a big split pushing threat out of Flares that is 2 levels up over Swiper. Not the same Rumble performance as we saw in Game 1.
Does have his Zhonya's Hourglass now, so it might start to change in favor of Swiper. He's able to pull off some big team fights here, but Flares has been playing very well on this Gnar, a champion we haven't seen picked frequently here. They're using it to great effect. Raze is still farming in this mid lane, only has 1 item as Caitlyn right now, still looking for his Infinity Edge.
And going a new build on Gnar, I mean, normally when we see Gnar, we see Black Cleaver into Frozen Mallet. I feel like that kind of went over onto Kennen, so why play Gnar if you're going to play Kennen? However, this time around, going for a big team fighting build, you would have to say. A little bit tankier at the start, and giving Swiper still trouble in the split push, but then lending more than on-hit Kennen would in a team fight.
Swiffer's been getting a lot of this farm. Solo lane action at the moment, no one can contest him. 2 solo kills, 3 turrets, I believe, solo being picked up by the Ari now. And every time Flares approaches one of these turrets, Swiper just pops the ultimate and says, nah, wait another wave.
And all it does is slow it down by 30 seconds, right? That's a big thing here. You just lose 30 seconds worth of tempo. So whilst Ari is currently looking in the jungle for potentially a pick, Flares is still just waiting for that lane to catch up. You can see that Swiffer standing on top of a ward, but looking to pressure the blue buff. If that was the ultimate instead of Smokescreen Spooks, you would have stolen that. You miss 100% of shots you don't take.
Flares is still down in this bottom lane going up against Swiper. He's 3 levels up. I just realized that. That's not pretty.
That certainly isn't. Swiper is having a very rough game in the split push. Thought that maybe this would be a little bit more team fight heavy, and I think that the call to go to 1-4, you know, with Orianna catching sideway farm is the right call, because now all of a sudden, Flares can flex the muscles of Mininar, and if it ever does devolve into team fight, he's still there.
There's a big spike as well for Sin as FBI's picked up his Trinity Force to go over Manamune. Rengar's hunting someone. Okay. You do you, Juves. Spots him out.
Spooks runs at him.
Just jump at him. Jump on him. Go on, Juves.
I mean, they have grouped up for the first time here. Ahri is also collapsing. Chiefs want the mid lane turret with no Rengar ulti available. There's not all that much way that they can get into the back lane.
They're just trying to wave clear right now. They're throwing everything at this minion wave, just trying to hold on for Flares to continue pushing first. He's making some work out of this bottom lane. Might have been enough to deter Chiefs for a while now.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be the case. I mean, Orianna, even if she is 0-4 with 2 items, still has wave clear for days. So with the Ezreal ulti, enough to dissuade. Didn't even have to pop Orianna ulti for wave clear.
Flares might be a bit of trouble here, as a lot of Chiefs members trying to collapse.
Certainly is. He does have QSS. We'll see if he can get away.
They're chasing him down. Flares now wants to fight Egypt. Egypt, I don't think you want to be a part of this, buddy. Spook's going to jump over the wall, and Flares just hops back over.
Yeah, and Egypt nearly dies because Blue Buff took a chunk out of it, and all of a sudden, now Sin can rotate across. Ahri is still in top lane.
Yep.
Chiefs
Flares
just need to get out of here.
Flares just fighting. He says, all right, the 3 of you, fight me. Come.
And
Let's
Chiefs
go.
don't want to fight it because they don't want to give anything away. They're willing to... Oh, no, Spooks throws an ult at the end, but still not burning all that much for it. Naraoma has to go against Swiffer. And you feel like we've seen this story a couple of times.
There we go, dash forward for Swiffer. Flash forward for Ryoma, trying to get the ultimate down, but it's not going to be enough. Even through...
Oh!
Oh my goodness! Ryoma somehow does it. Does pick up the kill, but it's just traded 1-for-1.
I mean, that's actually Swiffer making a massive mistake because he dashed onto the ballfish. Without that, wouldn't have been there. Now Rogue's caught out.
He's going to be locked down here, but Redemption going to keep him nice and healthy. Juves now the target. Equalizer is going to come through. Rogue blocks the damage for Juves. As somehow he gets Edge of the Night off through that.
Yeah, and it was a kind of sloppy equalizer there. Swiper didn't feel like he could get in range quickly enough, so threw it. So just the tip of the equalizer was on 3 members. Not going to lend itself much in that situation. Meanwhile, because they shut down one split pusher, and now without equalizer, Swiper has to go up against Flares. Map disadvantage for the Chiefs, you would have to say. So really nicely executed from Sin.
Swiper does have his Leandri's Torment now, so if he does go toe-to-toe against Flares, at least he'll burn him slowly.
I mean, Flares has got a QSS, a Hex Drinker, and Merc Tread. Honestly, until a Void Staff comes out of Swiper, he's just not going to do all that much damage to him.
You can see that from the minion score at the moment, 60 up for Flares still. Advantage equalize in the bottom and mid lane, and jungle still fairly even.
You can see that the second QSS has been picked up, so obviously message received out of Sin. Pick up QSS early against Malzahar. It will save your life.
Win game.
Makes sense. However, the Chiefs, for the first time you feel, and now moving into the river and placing down good denial. It's not about active vision if you're the Chiefs. It's about denying Sin's vision, making them walk into your Ahri.
They've got some big power spikes as well. You can see Swiffer pick
Here
up
we
the
go.
components of his Rabbit
All of a
Arms.
sudden, mid lane, we've got a big fight.
Drew's going to get a lockdown. He's going to be taken down nice and easy by the Chiefs here. Swiffer gets that kill.
And that is all it is about when you play Ahri. Denied vision, make them come to you, and you will be able to reap the benefits. All of a sudden, Swiffer caught out a little bit.
They're still split pushing. Flares is going to be able to get some damage on these turrets, but Chiefs are cheating down towards the bottom side of the map.
And they're all going because they've pushed up mid lane. All of a sudden, Flares, it's going to be a 1v5. He'll run into Swiper first. Actually, the Chiefs offer a cheeky dragon on the way.
Yeah, Ocean Dragon is a little bit more enticing for the Chiefs at the moment, so they take that one down instead. I don't think they wanted to run head into the Nah. That should have been a free kill for them.
Yeah, potentially, although maybe, you know, I mean, Juice is dead. They're not going to do Baron. I think that was a free kill into a dragon. However, just deciding not to risk it. Why risk it for something that is just a mini Nah? Let him continue to live. Live and let live. It's like I've always said.
Flares is just going to continue to be a nuisance in this bottom lane as he continues pushing. Randuin's Omen being picked up by him.
Great item against Caitlyn. Relies a lot on crit to burn through tanks. Really the only tank on this squad, although Jude's getting slightly tankier earlier into this game.
And Sin not throwing themselves at Chiefs anymore. This time around, very content to play the long game. Every single time they get picked off, they're like, okay, we're throwing 3 ultimates into the wave, make sure Chiefs can't push, players do something.
Yeah, and the thing that I expect out of Sin is for them to continue to slow play the game until they have 3 items. Probably the Void Staff on Ryoma is going to be the go button. Then they'll group up and they'll just look for that one team fight. All you need is one team fight with a combo like the Gnar Ezreal Orianna. They're going to be able to light up the whole of the Chiefs backline. And now they've maybe caught them out as well.
Yeah, Juve's looking for this one. Decides not to jump in. Smokescreen would deny his vision as Ryoma is stuck. Get over the wall.
He's on the wrong side of the wall, although... Oh, Spokes!
He's going to get caught out here. Boulder Strike going to deal a lot of damage. True Shot Barrage goes wide, and the Voidling blocking the Mystic Shot coming out from FBI again from Egypt.
Yeah, exactly right. So Egypt stepping up his play in this game. 3-1 and 3, had a good game 1 as well. Juice doesn't have ultimate, however, cheating towards that lane means that the push stops from Swiffer, and slowly but surely across the map, Sin are eking out advantages.
They don't have quite the goal lead they had 14 minutes into this game, but they're still ahead, Sin. They still have priority almost. It's just Swiffer at the moment against the world, it seems. If he can get those solo kills against Ryoma, it's the go button for Chiefs at the moment.
And I mean, if you've ever seen a comp that Sin, you feel like they're just going to execute on cleanly late game, it's a massive team fighting comp. There's no finesse behind this at all. I mean,
throw it yourselves.
Put the ball on Juves and get him into the backline. That's all it is. Because now Flair's potentially looking for a dive.
Yeah, wants to fight. Swiper does not. Let's go Mega here. This turret's going to take an absolute beating. Rams his head into it.
Headbutt after headbutt.
Get it. There's the ultimate action coming out. Flares decides to fight under the turret, and Swiffer's here as well. Flares is going to try and flash away. No follow-through coming out from the Chiefs.
Double ultimate out of the Chiefs members. Certainly a good news story from Flares. You can see that the pressure he is exerting is just so potent at this stage of the game.
Yep.
Although, well...
Ooh, did he get it? He
no,
got it.
Yep. I thought, don't know who you're talking about. Did who get it? Use
FBI,
name.
True Shot Rush. Come on, it's a steal. If Swiffer doesn't get it, that's his fault.
You're a hooligan. Juves pounces on Egypt. What are you doing?
There's a teleport coming in. Egypt's in trouble. He's going to be able to flash away. They do take down Juves to kick things off. Flares is looking to try and get into the back lines, but a trap from Raze stops him. So Sin trying to make the proactive move. Can't take down the Jim.
If you don't have the ball on you, don't jump on someone, Juve. That is the rule. You're playing a tanky Rengar at the moment. Just wait for the ball. Wait for Ryoma's damage. He just needs the Void Staff. And you feel like whoever Juves then goes on, between the two of them, they'll assassinate. I mean, that is not a fair fight, 2v1. Instead, the Chiefs get a pick, slow down the tempo a little bit more, send Swiffer back to a side lane, continue to allow him to farm up, and he's looking for a Rabadon's Death Cap.
Still waiting to see if he's going to be able to pick that one up. Swiffer's got his Void Staff already. Meanwhile, Roma's gone towards Leandri's first.
Ooh, that's interesting. I really like Leandri's when you're not playing against tanks, because the flat penetration is generally enough, as you can see. No MR whatsoever, apart from that of the Locket. And of course, that only gives it to Egypt now as Raze gets caught.
That's going to be quite a bit of damage from FBI. Decides not to be too aggressive. So the rest of the Chiefs was slowly moving their way down to protect their Caitlyn.
Yeah, and one more time, Chiefs just need to go back towards Vision Denial. I know that I talk about it a lot, but when you're playing a comp that relies on picks, getting Vision Denial around Baron, around those brushes to mid lane, so you can guarantee which way they're going to walk in from, is just so crucial. When you've got a Rumble, they're not going to walk through chokes. You just know that. You want them to have to put it sideways across the river and cut off an escape. And then Swiffer can just look for picks on this Ahri because he's super fed.
Now it's Sin actually slowly pushing in here. No Sin ARAM coming out from them this game instead, you know, playing nice and spread across the map.
They're certainly playing 1-4. I mean, you can tell that they're begrudgingly sending Ryoma towards Swiffer at the moment. Still caught up so well in CS. For someone that is under constant kill threat in the side lane, hats off for Ryoma to continue farming the way he has.
Yeah. Well, Flares is level 18 now, Spawn. He knows more about Mortius. This turret is going to fall. Uses his battering ram of the face to take that one down. And slowly but surely, Flares is eking out these advantages for Sin.
Yeah, it certainly is. However, Swiper nearly has picked up his Void Staff. And I think that the matchup will swing again when he has it. Because just Void Staff is so incredibly important at being able to burn through tanks.
Yep.
He's about 100 CS down, but that's what you expect out of a Rumble when he's stuck in a split push matchup. You just can't approach the wave the same way that a Gnar can. And you can see that even though they're not really hard ganking the Gnar, they keep throwing a bone to Swiper every now and again to just make sure that they're not losing out on turrets.
Oh, they've got 3 people on it now. Flares will get locked down. QSS a little bit late, but hops, skits, and jumps.
Goodbye.
He does get taken down by Swiffer there. 3 people. This is enough to take him down. And Juves! Yeah, you don't do that.
Yeah, really nicely played out of the Chiefs, actually, because they collapse. They know that Juves is going to want to try and help his top laner, and they've just brought enough members across to be able to cut that off. Orianna has to take the long way against Ari every time. That could potentially be the Baron, which would just bust this game wide open.
Yeah, that just sucks. Sim, we're working so hard to try and take down the bottom lane turret as FBI wants to try and take down Swiffer by himself. Flash actually being burnt there. Equalizer as well. Swiffer's in trouble. Now Race Roma flashes on top of the AD carry. He said, no jungler alive. Can they do this? FBI's fighting on the wall. He shifted. Spooks is dead. Baron's dead. Sin. Oh my goodness. They're just wiping the floor of the Chiefs. 3 on 5.
And they didn't take Swiffer into the pit, which means that Ryoma just could assassinate Raze on the back end of that team fight. FBI isolates the Ari, and then Ryoma goes nuts. Now 3-5-4 picks up the Baron for his team, and what looked like it was going to be the death blow of Sin actually swings the game heavily back in their favor.
Well, at least Ryoma's listening to you, Spawn. You don't go in unless you've got the ball on yourself, and he's done that almost every single time he's used the shockwave this damn game. Flashes in, he's the tank.
Exactly right. He's been able to pick up a really crucial fight there for his team. And that's going to be 6,000 gold and another Fire Dragon for Sin. Late game team fighting is not going to be a problem. And this all just came down to, I mean, Swiper used the Equalizer to try and save his mid laner, when really he should have been using it in the choke of this pit here. And yeah, there's just absolutely nothing they could do because Swiffer out of it, Swiper with no ultimate, and you can see that Rogue is going nuts on your screen. That is such an important team fight for this series.
He is a happy man right now, good old Rogue, and that's given them a 5,000 gold advantage with the Baron buff to work with. Cena well and truly online now, the Chiefs. I mean, they picked up the 2 frontliners who have been throwing themselves at the Chiefs. It's not enough. Swiffer's now being able to pick up his blue buff and is finally working towards a Rabadon's Death Cap. Void Staff is complete from Swiper, so they do have major penetration items online.
Ryoma went Void Staff after that as well. I mean, if you have perfect gold for a Void Staff, you should always pick it up because it's just so cost efficient. If instead, you know, you're building towards something, you can only afford to pick up components. Sometimes it's better to sit on a needlessly large rod than a blasting one. And you can see that because he has 300 gold in his pocket and he's just walked out of base, I assume he just had perfect gold and thought, you know, I can get this right now and we can push to end this game.
Big kicker coming out from Ryoma there. He's going to be dealing near true damage to everyone, and shockwave into W. Dissonance does quite a ton of damage.
Certainly does.
Raze and Egypt trying to cheat around the side, see if they can pick anyone off sneakily. There are 2 Quicksilver Sashes on the side of Sin. Juves does have an inbuilt crowd control remover, once he does have the stacks available.
Raze has got 4 items. He's technically as strong as you can generally get at this point. However, Juves can just fly into the front line, and with the ball there zoning, oh!
Egypt flashes forward and doesn't get anyone, I believe. Chiefs have to disengage that one. The ball is now close under the turret, which makes it so hard for them to engage.
Yeah, it certainly does. You can see that they're just ducking and continuing to get pop shots here. Trinity Force users so good at chipping down turrets in this fashion.
I mean, they've got mid lane broken. Flares is split pushing top side of the map with teleport. He's happy up there.
And all he's waiting for is the time that he actually gets free time on the turret and forces the Equalizer out of the Rumble, because then they can just stream in and there's nothing they can do. So instead, what do? They roll the dice.
Spook's almost dead. Almost gets taken down there. Forced to use the locket. Raze now being jumped on. FBI's gone forward. He's an aggressive man this game. They do take down Flares up on the top side of the map eventually, but they lose their inhibitor for it.
Yeah, exactly right. So this time the Chiefs actually try and deal with a split pusher, which they couldn't do last week. However, it costs them an inhibitor and so much else on the bottom side of the map. I mean, we saw Spooks nearly die, Raze fall incredibly low, and the bottom lane got broken open.
This is a Gnar with 3 damage items spawn. Black Cleaver, more Mordius, and Mercurial Scimitar being picked up. So that turret is very low. He was destroying it before he got taken down. So Sin might just want to try and push for that. No Baron buff available anymore. Teleport is available for Flares, but he's only up in 25 seconds, and Sin just break the base again.
Still a risky fight.
Shockwave in the back line. Spooks and Raze do get taken down by Ryoma's going to pay for that one with his life. And Chiefs now trying to turn around the team fight. FBI cleanses it, flashes away. The sniper from downtown's not going to be enough yet. And Swiffer tried to go toe-to-toe. FBI almost gets it, but it's not going to be enough. And Rogue is just going to be burnt alive. Juice goes back in. He gets a kill for himself. A double. Spooks not happy about that one. Will take him down as he tries to jump forward. And Chiefs do get 3 kills off the back of that.
They certainly do. And meanwhile, Raze is in the base, just making sure that he's trimming the creep waves. But another week and another match where the Chiefs have no base left. 2 Nexus turrets, 3 inhibitors. I mean, they're all exposed. This is going to be such a hard game to win from because we've kept talking about it. But Sin have a team fighting comp. Chiefs need to make picks. How can you make picks when they're just going to be streaming into your base? This is one of those times that the Chiefs need to get very lucky on Sin mix executing, you feel. Because late game, they just do way more damage.
They certainly do. You can even see Last Whisper being picked up by FBI as well. So he's got 5.5 items now. Once that's complete, it's going to deal a ton of damage. Wouldn't be too surprised if it's the Mortal Reminder for healing reduction. No tanks inside the Chiefs. But no Guardian Angels being picked up yet. I believe Flares is building towards his as his final item.
I mean, I think he can even go towards Banshee's Veil.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, the only thing that really is going to hurt Flares is copying a stray Charm. That means he's going to have to cleanse it when he's looking for the ult. Instead, if you go Banshee's Veil, Charm not really going to bother you. All of a sudden, all you have to be able to cleanse is going to be that EGM ult, and you can guarantee a massive stun for your team.
Final item from Ryoma is actually going to be a QSS, so hopefully a Merc Scimitar from the Oriana as well. Juice jumps in. This time he had the Oriana ball, but no shockwave coming out as he's got too far forward. They already get 1 kill towards Swift. Spook's now in trouble. He's dead. Swiper's the next target. Goes into stasis, but he's just a golden object at the moment. It's a big shockwave will come out. Triple kill being picked up for the Nar. And Raze is left watching. He's trying to go forward. Flashes into the team, but it's let's go boys from Sin. They enjoy a good old fighter, and that might pick them up the game.
Yeah, it certainly is going to be, and this time much more controlled and methodical. In 39 minutes, Sin are going to close out the Chiefs, and we're going to Game 3.
Nobody expected this. It was a bloodbath once again, though, but Sin, they've done it. They're taking Chiefs to Game 3 with the victory here. They're going to be pretty happy about that one.
Yeah, they certainly have to be, especially the manner in which they played the game. Continual 1-4 split. They made sure that the Rumble didn't have the same impact in team fights, and even though Swiffer got fed, it just seems like the rest of the Chiefs, they look sluggish today. They're slow to respond. They're being caught out time and time again. And the Oriana came up key because you knew that when they grouped, finally, that was going to be a potent pick.
And I mean, we saw Juice actually talking to Ryoma there. Didn't have a great early start to the game there. In fact, got picked off multiple times. But did what Oriana had to do. Shield people up, get good shock blast down, and that's all you really need.
And prioritize farm. I mean, when you're a control mage, people lose sight of this a lot, but as long as you get to your items eventually, you can still dominate team fights, and that's exactly what he did.
Well, Sin have ticked off Legacy from the list, and now they're looking towards the Chiefs. It's tied up 1-1. Before we go into game number 3, let's give it back to the analyst desk.
Thank you, Spawn. Thank you, Fish. Well, there we have it. Sin tying up the game. El Fighto 1-1 against the Chiefs right now. And Blinky, turns out you were right all along. Predicted everything, buddy.
That's the one.
I mean, so let's talk about this comp, because Ezreal in the bot lane, that you were saying, look, if you're going to ban out that many AD carries, you've got to pick one that you can play to when you're the better, in your words, bot lane. So is that how the game kind of progressed?
Yeah, so I think Sin have the better mechanical early fights, and they picked a very aggressive lane and punished the Chiefs for misstepping, which is what they should do.
Yeah, Rusty, do you agree with that? Is that kind of how you saw the early parts of the game?
Yeah, absolutely right. The premise of this is that they tried to actually kill their opponents in the Chiefs. They can't just sit back and farm against EGM and Raze. They took it to them aggressively, and it did work out. Yeah, there's a chance that you mentioned that the AD carry may have been able to get the kill there in FBI, but Rogue still gets it. They still have a sustain lane, and they're sustaining to trade through the damage and out-trade their opponents in the Chiefs, and that translates to a pretty easy laning phase.
Well, let's talk about mid lane, because this in this game we saw Ryoma on Oriana, and as we saw, very kind of messy early on, a lot of deaths, but then towards the end, being able to get a lot of those ults off, doing so much damage. Meanwhile, Swiffer kind of going from hard carry in that first game to in this one, kind of having a few more problems, Blinky.
He definitely tried to carry as well, but he couldn't do the same thing he did first game, because this game his top lane was so far behind that he couldn't just free roam. He had to match the other team's pressure instead of making his own.
Well, let's take a look at this replay from the early 1v1 Swiffer versus Ryoma. And Rusty, What do you want to tell us about this?
The biggest thing to me about this is Reimer doesn't even play this perfectly. Saves the ultimate, doesn't use exhaust until it's too late. And the only reason that Swiffer actually gets this kill is firstly a fadeaway Q, and secondly Spooks was there to throw down pressure and force the flash. Like at the end of the day, Reimer may have actually got that 1v1, may have turned around the start of the game that he had for himself, but because of this, Swiffer snowballs an advantage. And the Chiefs actually hold on to the game for so much longer because of just Swiffer.
Well, we see like Sin take an early lead, and then we see maybe like 20, 30 minutes where they're just the Chiefs are just clawing back this gold lead, just trying to claw it back until we get to this Baron fight, Blinky, which just kind of you're just giggling there, but it all goes pear-shaped.
Yeah, this fight here, Raze hasn't even set up any traps to zone the Ryomer, so he can just walk in and kill him without however he wants. While FBI just zones like Ari and the backline off completely, and they just lose the fight because of no pressure.
Look at Rogue there in the player camps, just he's going off.
He's a happy boy.
Yeah, that dude was pretty excited after the fight. But again, Rumble uses the equalizer to try and zone away FBI. He's an Ezreal that doesn't actually work as intended. Swiffer has no health. And the reason all of this actually even happens in the first place is because they're buying Quicksilver Sashes. Like, you get a QSS, that's already a change between games 1 and 2. They all get a QSS eventually. And then the pick composition the Chiefs had is irrelevant. The Malzahar has nobody use his ult on. And it's almost as if magic happens and the Sin team find a victory because they bought a QSS.
Well, we did say before that like if Chiefs go behind, they kind of crumble. That's kind of the meme, right? But in this game, they held on for ages, as we said. But now that they've lost this second game, going to game 3, Blinky, I mean, are they going to... Are Sin going to take this?
I don't think Sin will take the game, but they have the chance to with the same thing they just did here, where they pressure early and try and like outperform them early. But Chiefs should just mental reset, forget about last game, come in with strong, consistent laners, and just win the game through macro.
Yeah. Rusty, does that mean that Chiefs just have to pick a kind of a less pick comp then, so they can't just be QSS'd out of it?
I think they're okay with a pick comp. The biggest thing that I would actually change right now is that Flares has shown he can deal with a Rumble. And blind picking Rumble usually is a good idea. I think what we change now from the side of the Chiefs is just not first rotating that blind pick and stop giving options for a last rotation counter from the side of Sin, even on blue side. They need to actually readjust their strategy for top lane, set Swiper up for success, because we said this before the series. You know, get the top going, get mid going, and then Spooks has an easy job.
All right, well, there we have it. The series is tied up 1-1, Sin versus Chiefs. Don't go anywhere because we're back with game 3 right after this.
Going down, flash forward, the ebb and flow is going to be able to pick up first blood for Rome. There we go, dash forward for Swiffer, flash forward for Rome. We're trying to get the ultimate down, but it's not going to be enough. Even through, oh my goodness! Rome somehow does.
Mid lane, they've got a big fight.
Drew's going to get a lockdown. He's going to be taken down nice and easy by the Chiefs here. Swiffer gets that kill. Swiffer's in trouble. Now Raze, Rome flashes on top of the AD carry. He's dead. No jungler alive. Can they do this? FBI's fighting on the wall. He shifted. Spooks is dead. Baron's dead. Sin. Oh my goodness. They're just wiping the floor of the Chiefs. 3-on-5.
A little risky fight.
Shockwave in the back line. Spooks and Raze do get taken down by Rome. Is going to pay for that one with his life. And Chiefs now trying to turn around the team fight. FBI cleanses and flashes away. The sniper from downtown's not going to be enough. Juice jumps in. This time he had the Orion ball, but no shockwave coming out as he's got too far forward. They already get one kill towards Swiffer. Spooks now in trouble. He's dead. Swiper's the next target. Goes into stasis, but he's just a golden object at the moment. A big shockwave will come out. Triple kill. Being picked up for the Nar. And Raze is left watching. He's trying to go forward. Flashes into the team. But it's let's go boys from Sin. They enjoy a good old fighter, and that might pick them up the game.